our sliding scale of first to second function. So when Northrop defined this, I've grappled a lot with in the Hawkins world talking about the first and second function, because so often works are talked about that they are largely first functional works like this, or they're largely second functional works like Botticelli's Venus, Birth of Venus. But as I've looked at a lot of dance and a lot of artwork, what I find is that these aren't just two places, that there are millions of places in between, that it's a sliding scale as we move from something that is abstract and so purely first functional and something that is far more second functional as it goes. So these things, sometimes you'll find works that sit on the extremes, like my dance flow and the baseball piece. But there are other places in between. I'd like to show you those in dance, and then you can postulate. The same though happens in theater. There are some theater works that are far more abstract than others, and even periods of theater where theater explored abstraction and explored, theater that was less second function. So in the dance world, we can have an abstract dance, which is, as Greenberg said, just the formalist elements, just a formal arrangement of the elements. And with an abstract dance, all the choreographer is asking you to do is enjoy it in and of itself and for its own sake. Enjoy the colors, the shapes, the lines, the colors, enjoy the movement, the motion in and of itself for its own sake. I'm talking about it as if it were a painting. A lot of dance sits in this next place, which is lyric dance. Now that's a little different than, sometimes dancers know the term lyrical, because there's a kind of dance that is lyrical out there that often is performed to music with words and often has a more emotional character. Now, lyric actually does deal with more emotion, and lyrical comes from lyric poetry, which goes all the way back to Plato and Aristotle, to the Greeks. So lyric means that the dance brings an emotion in there. Lots of dancers will do that, where they will make a dance like lamentation. It is just about a simple feeling state. What does it feel like to lament? What does it feel like to lose something? We can have a group of 12 dancers all dancing about the same feeling, all wearing the same kind of costume, dancing about the same feeling, and that is a lyric dance. There's quite a bit of that goes on in the dance world. And you can we could come up with hundreds of ideas for how to make a lyric dance and emotions to make dances about. Now another, if we move and get slightly more second functional, a dance might become a metaphorical dance. A metaphorical dance it's inspired by a subject and it reflects that subject. So some of you in this class have even danced last year in the dance when we did Eric Hawkins' New Moon. New Moon is a metaphor. So Hawkins made a dance, and the dance is a metaphor for what is a new moon. What is it like when the moon becomes new again and we start that new cycle from new all the way to full, and then we go back towards the other way too. So when the moon waxes and when the moon wanes. But we get to a moment of a new moon and he made an entire dance. I could make a dance called Milky Way. We can make, these are all celestial ideas, a dance called Night Rain, and that would be a metaphor, or even a place, like if you made a dance called Yosemite, where you wanted to capture the feeling of that national park of Yosemite. What does that feel like, that space? If we have actual people, characters, that's the next one, where we can have a character, and it portrays and develops a specific person and their specific situation. Yeah. So if you made a dance called Abraham Lincoln, yeah, where you wanted to create that character. I had a dancer friend make a dance about the painter Marie Cassatt. Yeah, and she wanted to capture what it was like for her, this artist that was losing her sight. Yeah, that situation. So sometimes we can have a character where it's beyond, and we stop seeing the dancer as just an element of motion, but we see this dancer as a specific person who wants something. Yeah. Now, if we keep moving towards second function, we're going to get to a scenario. And a scenario means that there is a sequence of events, dramatic events that happen that we can follow. Yeah. So that if the character is more than just, I just want to show you Abraham Lincoln, yes, and what that felt like to be Lincoln, but here I want to show you these points of decision. Yeah. So we're moving more towards a story, and then finally we get to what I consider to be a dance drama. And that's where we combine these things together, the metaphoric, the character, and the lyric, and even the abstract. We put them together and we have a drama. Yeah. Which then we have a character in a situation with wants and desires, and often there is a dramatic action. There's something that needs to have to be overcome, and we have to get through a series of events, and the world has to somehow change or not change, and the character has to either become fulfilled or disappointed in, so it's either it becomes a tragedy if something doesn't happen or if the wrong things happen. So if you think about the dance Romeo and Juliet, that is a story that we all know. So to tell that story, we would have to show all of the events that happened in that. And it becomes more than just a simple metaphor or a simple character. You could do a dance that's just a snapshot of like two people, and you could call them Romeo and Juliet, and we would know, oh, this is just a love dance about these two people. But if you told the real story, Romeo and Juliet, then you would be doing a drama. So what I want you to see is that within the dance world, we have this sliding scale. And for me, that's what's fascinating about going from Mondrian all the way to the birth of Venus. There are lots of places in between that we can get to. Much like I showed you the Red Rock Canyon, and then I showed you these abstractions of it, that it's an interesting choice of where should I go with this piece. Now, what's fascinating to me as a teacher about this is when I encounter a student who is making choreography, because often they have a choice. How realistic do I make this dance, or how abstract do I make this dance? And the same thing can happen, I think, since we have costume designers in this class, the same can happen with costumes, that they can work with the director and say, how realistic do we want to make these costumes? And even bring in elements of like, this is what we've always done with Romeo and Juliet, or do we want to abstract, and do we want to break things down? And later on, we'll even talk about, do we want to deconstruct? Yeah, that's a big fascination. So think about our sliding scale. Here's one more image of me putting all of these on the scale, and you can see how it goes from first function, formal arrangement, abstraction, all the way to dance drama. Yeah. What's cool, I would tell you, when you see your next dance concert, think about, where would I put each of these dances on this sliding scale? And which is the most abstract dance in the concert? And which is the most realistic dance in the concert? That's often fascinating to think about. And you'll also begin to know your preferences for where on this range you like to be.